Hey there, guys. How are you? I forgot to do the intro for this late night live show, but that doesn't matter because with the late night live show, it's not all about the spectacle and the glam. It's just the soothing sounds of my late night voice and you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully, you have nothing better to do than watch my stupid face for the next hour and eat some salty popcorn or have a delicious beverage. 3 ice cubes, no more, no less. But either way, how are you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining me once again for a brand new live show. Yeah, we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Feel free to dive in. Ask anything as usual. I don't really have any specific things I want to. Well, there's a lot of things I do want to talk about, but if you guys want to ask, then I'll talk about it. But this is all about you guys. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about us against the system, showing that the human spirit is still alive while everyone else inches down the freeways in their metal coffins. Okay, as you can tell, I probably should go to sleep, but here I am in front of you guys, and I'll keep it real with you. You know what inspired me to do this late night live show was for like the last month. I sort of took it easy. All right, I've been slacking. I know. John, where's your Batman review? I'll tell you where it's at. It's on my fucking desktop right now. I just got to make a few tweaks and changes to it, and I can put it out. But for some odd reason, I just don't feel like it's good enough. And after you guys watch it, you can tell me. But I'll tell you what got me inspired. I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I have been, and I always have. But I was watching some tonight, and I was watching people talk about things, movies, random things, and I was like, I can do that. And then I remembered that I have the ability to, and thus here I am to hang out with you guys. So either way, we have Michael Parton in here. Hey, Johnny, how's it going, Michael? How's it going? Let's see who else we have. We have Bruce. We have Carter Lovejoy. We have Kayla. Hey, Kayla, how are you? We have Luis Javier Rubio. And let's see what's going on with you, man. Johnny Funkman. Listen, man. Justice. The answer's justice. You know, I agree with that. Also, vengeance. What's more important? Justice or vengeance? Probably justice. But I'm going to go with vengeance tonight. Because it's late, I'm feeling seedy, and I want to put on a cape and cowl and some leather boots and cruise the streets of Gotham City looking for those who prey on the weak and the innocent. I don't have the luxury of friends. Raymond Watt, and thanks for the question, man. Raymond Watt says Jurassic Park is like Highlander. There should have been only one. You know what? I'll take Jurassic Park 2. I'll take the second installment. I can take it. I can almost enjoy it for the most part. But when that little girl starts doing backflips and she kicks a velociraptor in the face, like it's some gymnastics tournament, that's where I kind of fall out of love with it. But it's still an okay sequel. It's probably the best sequel by far. But man, you just can't top the first one. I think Jurassic Park Dominion, or I'm sorry, Jurassic World Dominion, how dare I get that wrong? Let me punish myself for those sins I've just committed. How dare you? I'm looking forward to it. Do I think it's going to be good? Yeah, I'm just glad to see the original cast come back. You guys kill it with the questions. Like, I do appreciate it. Some good ones in here. Okay. We have 160 of you guys watching right now. 162 of you watching right now. I knew I wasn't the only vampire. I knew you guys were with me. We can all sleep together in the coffin. That sounds weird, but take it how you will. All right. What am I doing? Hang on. I'm all discombobulated. Okay. Ghostface Killer says, have you seen any new movies? Thoughts on them? I have seen new movies. I do have thoughts on them. I'll share some of those thoughts now. So the last new movie I saw, unfortunately, was Morbius, which was the biggest bloated, bland, boring pile of shit out by Sony since the last big pile of shit they shit out. It felt really uninspired. It felt like a movie that should have come out in 2004. It reminded me of one of the Underworld cheap sequels. Like the fourth installment of the Underworld movie, whatever the hell that one was called, like Rise of Lycans or something. It reminded me of something like that. Just like a gloomy, sterile, not interesting story that could have been good. Like, I don't understand the tone or the vibe they were trying to go for with Morbius. And by the way, when it comes to Jared Leto, when it comes to him in comic book movies, he's almost like cancer to any role you put him in. He just will ruin that movie. And I know he tries, and maybe I think he can be a good actor. Like when he was in, for example, Dallas Buyers Club. I thought his role, I thought his performance was good. When he plays a true character, like a realistic, grounded character, I think he can do okay. I like him in other movies like Lord of War, where he plays Nicolas Cage's brother. I liked him in that performance. But when it comes to comic book characters, I would just say let's not cast him as anything. But yeah, as far as Morbius goes, it just felt like they were making that shit up as they went, didn't it? It just felt like it had no energy. It had no, like, charisma. It just felt like it was void of any real emotion. It felt like almost, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I was going to describe it like a rainy day, but even that's more exciting and has better storytelling. I don't get why they couldn't, like, give it the same vitality of something like Blade. Like the 1998 Blade with Wesley Snipes, right? Sort of like the same atmosphere, same tone. There's like vampires sucking blood and shit, right? Why couldn't it have had that same energy, but with Morbius in it? Go that route. So yeah, as far as like an upcoming Sinister Six movie, I don't know what it is with Sony. They just cannot ever lay that foundation right. I don't even want to talk about the after credit scene in the film. I don't want to spoil it if you guys haven't seen it. But that's the last big new movie I've seen. I do want to see Sonic 2. I do want to see Ambulance. I will probably see at least one of them tomorrow and then the next one on Sunday. But I'll probably see Ambulance first. To be honest with you, when it comes to Sonic, I'd rather just play the games. Like, the movie to me doesn't... Like, I know it has Sonic in it. I know it has Knuckles in it. I know there's, like, Sonic-esque things happening that reference from the games. But for me, it doesn't feel like a Sonic the Hedgehog video game. It feels like some Alvin and the Chipmunks movie that happens to have the character of Sonic in it. But I haven't seen part 2 yet. The first one I watched once in the theater and never really had the urge to revisit it. But let's continue on with the questions. Michael Parton. Hey, Michael, how's it going? Sonic 2 is the best video game adaptation. Whoa, that's quite the statement. I don't believe you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you stand by those words, well, good for you. I'm just going to stand by Mortal Kombat 1995 being the best video game movie adaptation. But I understand. All right. Carter Lovejoy says, have you ever used or do you use an app or something to count how many Blu-rays you have? I use an app called iCollect on my iPhone that helps me track how many Blu-rays I own in my collection. I do not. What I do is I use the good graces, and there's always every time I do a complete movie collection video, there's always someone who takes the time and they will go through and they will list every movie I have in my collection by watching the video, and they give me the total. And that's how I keep track. But right now, I don't know. I don't know how many I have. I go through these phases where I clean out my collection. I call it cleansing the collection, okay? You have to cleanse the collection. Because every once in a while, you got to cut off that excess fat, that diseased, wretched skin before it infects everything else. And you got to cleanse out a large portion of your movies that you don't watch, you don't really need. They're just there collecting dust. And I'm to a point in my life where I get rid of those movies on occasion, every couple of years. And the next Flip Trip video will be me selling a lot of movies that I don't want. I have a huge bin of them in my closet back there. And a lot of them, in all fairness, were movies sent to me by the studios over the years that they're like, hey, do you want this? I'm like, yeah, why not? It's a free movie. Of course, I'll take it. But a lot of them are movies that were sent to me from the studio, in all fairness. But that'll probably be the next Flip Trip video. Like, maybe I'll call it cleansing my collection. I don't know. So no, I don't have an app. The next one, Night King 01, who has been a member for 8 months. Yay! Okay. Every time you say that Point Break line, you never say it right. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing it. because I'm a human. I'm not a robot from IMDb, okay? I can't remember every single thing about everything, okay? Just let me have it, man. I make it my own, all right? You don't come here for the movie quotes. That's not what you're coming here for. You're coming here for a nice cup of coffee and some conversation. And that's it. And I don't even have coffee. So what does that leave us with? Also, I just watched Thunderbolt, Jackie Chan mixed with Fast and the Furious Awesome. Yeah, I have not seen Thunderbolt. I've heard of it. I have not seen it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, though, man. Big Tony Rockets. Hey, John. Am I in the minority by thinking old movies look so much better than new movies on 4K Blu-ray? There's something to be said about film versus digital. A lot of things shot on digital today. Not always. Sometimes something like Knives Out, which I think was completely shot on digital. I think it was shot on digital. But something with like Knives Out, they gave it that film look. And I remember watching Knives Out for the first time thinking, man, that looks good. Like, I want more movies to look like that. So yeah, I would say, yes, I enjoy the way film looks on a 4K optical disc, typically more than a modern day digital movie. You know what? I will say one of the newest movies that was shot on digital that does have a film look to it would be like The Joker. To me, if all digital films look like The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, I would be happy. It's something they just have this like depth to them and this warmth that sometimes digital just can't encapsulate. But then again, I would almost say general audiences nowadays, they have come accustomed to like that digital look, like that very glossy digital look. And I think that's just like the standard. Like general audiences like the way that looks, and I just never have. Something about it just doesn't have that same glow and warmth. So yeah, I do agree with you. I would say there's a ton of films I actually prefer that were actually shot on film on 4K. You know, like Tarantino movies on 4K look beautiful, especially when he shoots them in 70 millimeter. Something like the Hateful Eight, for example, just looks so good. And actually, is Hateful Eight even on 4K? I don't think it is. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood looks amazing. Joseph Knowles. Hey, Joseph, how's it going? Hey, John. Good to see you. Have you seen Ambulance? Just mentioned that earlier. I have not seen it yet. I want to see it tomorrow. I was going to see it tonight. Didn't get a chance. I actually went bowling earlier for the first time in like a year with a friend of mine. And I will say, my bowling arm, I still got it, man. I rolled a 208 and then a 216. I haven't bowled in a very long time, but nevertheless. Abinash Mohatni says, why don't you have more Criterion? If there's more movies on Criterion that I wanted, I'd buy them. That's just as simple as that. There's a lot of movies in the Criterion collection. You could buy it. You could put them on your shelf and be like, I have a large Criterion collection. But how many of those movies do you want to rewatch over and over again? There's a few I would like to get, but the thing is, like, if the Criterion collection, in all truthfulness, if they could afford the rights to bigger name titles, you would see bigger titles in the Criterion collection. They just, keep in mind, they are obtaining the rights to films. They pay for those rights. So the money can only go so far. I mean, The Rock is in the Criterion collection. Is Armageddon on a? I think Armageddon also has a Criterion release. So that's why there's movies I want, but I'm glad Criterion has moved to 4K because why would I go buy Blu-ray versions of movies? Like, so the fact that Criterion is moving to 4K, or at least they have, I'd probably buy more in the future. Raymond Watt says, I've heard of method actors, but Jared Leto is a meth actor. Fair. Mildly true. Meth, I don't know about that. Coke, probably. But yeah, man, there's something about Jared Leto and his method acting that just it comes across really fucking pretentious, isn't it? Like, it's just like so pretentious. Like, you're telling me you had to go through all that shit just to give that bad of a performance? Okay, whatever, man. Like, Sony Chavez says, I'm gonna wear your magical and mystical shirt to watch Sonic tomorrow. Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you. By the way, the link to this is down below. If you do that, please tweet me a picture. I'd like to share it. I want a picture of you in the theater with popcorn with the shirt on with you smiling. That's what I want, and I'll tweet it. But I hope you enjoy the movie, man. Luis Javier Rubio says, Morbius can't be worse than that monstrosity against superhero cinematic history that came out in 2015, which is known as Fantastic Four Stick. You know, I would almost say it is worse. I think I would say Morbius is worse than Fantastic Four Stick from 2015. It's hard. I would need to sit down and really contemplate all the reasons why. But I can tell you this. I would have more fun, or at least I did have more fun reviewing Fantastic Four Stick than I feel like I'd have reviewing Morbius. Like, they're both awful. They're both terrible. But at this point with Sony films, it's almost like, okay, come on, Sony, can you just get it right? Like, I want you to get it right. I wanted Morbius to be like a really fun take on a villain, like, or sort of an anti-hero villain-esque character. But I was like, okay, like, just be good. I was looking forward to it, to be honest, and it just felt like another letdown. With Fantastic Four Stick, I had no hope. So I could just go in and just be like, oh, this is going to be sucky. And it was terrible. So the other day, I almost had the urge to watch, like, see if I could watch like 20 minutes of Fantastic Four from 2015. And then I was like, nah, I got better things to do with my life. Claudia Rojan says, John, have you seen Moon Knight yet? It's pretty cool so far. Weird and mind-bending, and I hope when the fight scenes do happen, they are good. I did watch Moon Knight. I watched the first 2 episodes. I liked the first episode way more than that second episode. I thought the first episode was a good, like, pilot episode. It was like a good first episode. And I was like, okay, they could go anywhere. They can do anything. And then you watch the second episode, and you're like, oh, that's what they're doing. I know there's like 5 more episodes left. I'm not in love with it. I'm really not. I think the most intriguing thing is Oscar Isaac. His personality disorder. Like, if you just look at it from that aspect of the show, where he sort of like has to almost live in this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type lifestyle, that's intriguing to me. But yeah, I guess I'll give you like a real in-depth thoughts on it by the 3rd episode. I feel like I got to give it 3 episodes and see what they're really going to do with it. But it's just kind of something about Marvel. They always sort of like underwhelm me with their second episode in any series they put out. For some reason, it's just like, that's the point where I'm like, okay, it's just not what I wanted it to be. But we'll see. What do you guys think about the Moon Knight series so far? Did you guys like the first 2 episodes? Raymond Watt says, if Jazzy Jeff assaulted someone at the Oscars, they would have literally thrown him out. Yeah, and they probably wouldn't have had him come up on stage and smile for 10 minutes like nothing happened and give him another golden trophy to put on his mantle in his $25 million house. Probably, I don't know. So we're gonna talk about the Will Smith thing real quick, I guess. I talked about it on the previous live show. So yeah, here's my feelings on it. If Will Smith was not going to win that award for Best Actor later that night, then they should have just thrown him out of it. But the fact that he did win that award, it was about everyone else rather than just him that worked on the movie. So when he can give his thanks to everyone else and they can stand up there with him or whatever, I think those people deserve to get their accreditation. And it just so happens Will Smith sort of had to be there at that point because he won the Best Actor award that year. But yeah, it was sort of like a weird situation, right? So I guess he's not allowed back for the next 10 years. So there's that. But then again, who really gives a shit? He's still a millionaire. It doesn't matter. It's okay. He just can't go to an award ceremony. I'm not a pervert. I just wanted a Turbo Man doll. That's what I would have said. Jazzy Jeff. Abinash Mahatni says, do you watch New Everything Everywhere All at Once? Did you watch? No, I haven't watched it yet. I've heard good things. I don't... Now, I'm only going to give you my thoughts based on the trailer, and I've heard it's a good movie. It could be really interesting. To me, it doesn't look like a movie I want to go see at the theater. And honestly, and maybe, I don't think I'm alone in saying this, the last few people I've seen movies with, and we saw that trailer play, were like, I was like, do you want to see that? And they're like, no, I barely wanted to finish watching the trailer. So it's probably one of those movies people are going to say they really like, and then they'll never watch it again, and no one will talk about it in 2 weeks after it comes out. But then again, next year during the awards, maybe it'll get nominated for something. I don't know. It's probably really good. I haven't seen it, and I haven't really been anticipating it all that much. I'm waiting for The Northman to come out. I want The Northman, and I need some Top Gun Maverick. But most importantly, The Northman. Have you guys seen Everything Everywhere at Once? Let me know. Chris says, what have you been up to this week? Well, Chris, this week has been a busy week. I got an Apple Watch. I bought an Apple Watch, and I'll tell you why. I never wanted one. I was never a watch guy. But what I did is I learned something. I figured out if you buy an Apple Watch and you connect it to your iPhone, well, rather than use the shitty selfie cam on your phone when I shoot vlog videos, now I can put my Apple Watch, like I can attach it to my phone, and I can use the good camera because now I can see, you can almost use your Apple Watch as like another screen when you're using the good camera on your phone. So now I can line up the shots and make them look better. But yeah, like I said, I went bowling today. I did a few other things this week, but really it just, I don't remember. I don't remember what I did this week. I made a doctor's appointment. Getting old sucks. All right, the next one comes from Potted Plant Entertainment. Did you know that Heat didn't win a single award? Did it not win anything that year? Huh. Interesting. You think it would win like best, at least sound design or something, because the sounds in that movie are phenomenal, especially during the shootout scene in the LA streets. Also, did you know the movie Heat is essentially just a remake of another movie that's exactly the same from the 1980s that Michael Mann also directed, but it was a made-for-TV movie? Did you know that? Yeah, there's literally another movie. It's identical to the movie Heat, directed by Michael Mann, that came out like 6 years before Heat. And then what he did is say, you know what? I don't like that movie. I'm going to remake it, but better. And basically that's what we got, Heat, in 1995. So check that out. The next one comes from Lewis, and he says, are you going to watch The Northman, which is a very gritty, grotesque Viking movie? Abso-fucking-lutely. That's what if you're going to make a Viking movie, those are two words you need to use to describe it. Gritty and grotesque. Thank you, please. Oh, Willem Dafoe's in it too? I'll take it. Take my money now. Absolutely, can't wait. Blake says, saw it last night. Great original story. Okay, good to know. Someone said, we're talking about the Everywhere at Once or whatever the movie's called. Someone says it was decent. Everything Everywhere All at Once is a 9 out of 10 movie. Ooh, okay. All right. You're really hyping it up, man. Someone says Ambulance or Sonic. I would see Ambulance first. I'm 35 years old. Sonic. I played the games, but the movie doesn't. To me, the movie doesn't look like the games. It just doesn't. Hey, John, I got a job at Walmart. Well, congratulations to you, man. Hope you enjoy it. All right, the next one comes from Flicks, Games, and Sex Tips. Not having the intro made it seem like you just showed up in my living room unannounced. Have you heard about the very hyped up Everything Everywhere All at Once? Yes, I have. I don't know. When I watch the trailer to that movie, I kind of get bored halfway through it. I'll check it out. And yeah, the reason I forgot to do the intro in this live stream is because I had it set on the thing where it just shows me, and I clicked live, and then I realized, oh, I'm supposed to have the intro right there. It's late. It's called Late Night Movie Talk for a reason. Just raw and visceral entertainment. All right. The next one comes from Bruce Cook. Hi, John. I keep seeing advertisements for The Northman on TV. Looks like it stars Willem Dafoe and one of the Skarsgårds. Is it any good? It hasn't come out yet. I don't know. I don't know if it's good. I hope it's good. I've heard okay things about it from people who have seen it earlier at film festivals and things like that, but I haven't seen it yet. But I want to. Mason Arnold says, did you notice when Jared Leto did the stinky leg when he was trying to walk crippled to his desk in Morbius? I laughed so hard. The stinky leg? I don't know. I noticed you walked with a limp sometimes. I don't recall. I don't know. It just felt really... Everything in that movie feels so uninspired. Even the knockoff Batman Begins scene where he goes in the jar of bats and he rises up. Like exactly like Bruce Wayne did in the Batcave for the first time as the bats fly around him, and they even copied the music. Like literally copied the exact music. I was like, oh God. Joshua Knox says, have you seen Moon Knight yet? Also a huge fan of your channel. Well, thanks, Joshua. We talked about Moon Knight a few minutes ago. I did see the first 2 episodes. I liked the pilot episode way more than the second episode. But yeah. By the way, guys, I'm going to upload it immediately following this late night live show. If you guys join me on Patreon, or if you guys are YouTube members and you guys join the podcast perk, I'm uploading an hour-and-a-half podcast right after this where I talk all about the Batman. I think we talk about Moon Knight, and we talk about Morbius. And then we deep dive into like 800 other discussion topics. But real quick, if you guys have joined those, I'm going to start making the podcast. I think I want to make the podcast available at a lower tier so more people can listen to it. So yeah, look out for that. I'll do it right after this live show. Should only take like 10 minutes. MKF30 says, Scream 5 versus Morbius versus Eternals, the best of those. Oh, shit. Okay, Scream 5 was the easiest to get through. It's the shortest movie with the shortest runtime, I believe. So as much as I don't like Scream 5, I think that was the easiest film to get through in the theater. Because it didn't take that much out of you, right? Morbius to me was just the first act. I was like, oh, okay, it's not good, but okay. And then it just progressively got worse. Eternals, I wanted to fall asleep in. I wanted to go to sleep. Ryman 6000 says, can we talk about how crazy Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is? Imagine if the original Star Wars had a sequel with the same tone. Oh, hell yeah, man. Imagine Darth Vader just ripping some guy's fucking heart out. Just imagine if Darth Vader used his Jedi mind powers, his Sith Lord powers, whatever you want to call them. Imagine if Darth Vader, rather than just choking someone with the power of the Force, no, he rips someone's heart out with it. That's what I would like to see. That would be the tone of Temple of Doom meets Empire. And thinking about that, I want to see that now. Claudia Rogojan says, even film is processed digitally now, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean you gotta scan the film stock digitally, and then you gotta color grade it digitally. Yes, I do, but it's still shot on film, yeah. You want them to do it all optically and color grade it optically? You know how difficult that would be? It's film is yeah, clearly, yeah. You have to process film digitally. I mean, or how the fuck else could you put it on a 4K? You have to process it digitally. You essentially scan the film stock. All right, let's keep going. Claudia Rojan says there is literally no point to method acting. I think to a certain degree I can understand it. Like I think some actors like Joaquin Phoenix maybe kind of does method acting, and then it translates well to his performance. It's like, oh, okay, I can see what you're doing there. But other guys like Jared Leto, it just comes across like a pretentious dude who thinks he's like this amazing actor and he embodies the role, but really just it doesn't come across on screen. So, or maybe he's just always miscast. You know, I guess we know not to cast Jared Leto as Morbius or Joker, right? Joshua Knox says, "Hey John, been a fan of your channel for years. Are you looking forward to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness?" Yeah, I really am looking forward to. I know tickets went on sale the other day. I need to get some tickets at some point very soon. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Really, to me, it's gonna be Marvel the cameo movie, right? It's just like, how many cameos can we shove in this movie? Let's see. I'm hoping they do something crazy and bizarre with it, and it's off the walls, and it leaves us on some kind of like cliffhanger, edge of our seats ending. That's what I'm hoping to see from the new Doctor Strange movie. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Mason Arnold says, "Say this in a Marky Mark voice. Hey, what are you doing over there? You going to church or something? What are you, some kind of Jesus freak or something?" I hope that is everything you wanted and more. John Campia, the fake John Campia, says, and for our next question of the day, hey buddy, are you looking forward to Avatar 2 just as much as me? It's going to be an amazing piece of film. I am looking forward to it. I want it to be really good. I'm almost afraid. Like, I'm going to be watching that movie almost as if, like, I had some kind of, like, financial stake in it. Because I'm just like, oh, God, they spent $1 billion on these Avatar movies. If this second movie does not intrigue audiences to go see 3 more sequels following this movie, holy shit. So, yeah, I am really looking forward to it. It'll be fun, I'm sure. You know, James Cameron... Even the worst James Cameron movies are still like well-made movies, right? You can at least like look at them and be entertained. So I'm looking forward to Avatar 2. I really need to see that first trailer though. When's that coming? Joseph Knowles says, "Have you gotten your Doctor Strange tickets yet?" Nope, not yet. I know they just went on sale. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow or something. I don't know. Like, fucking movie comes out in a month, man. It's getting crazy out there. But yeah, I'll get them soon. I mean, I would like to get some press screening to the movie if I could. I'm working on that, but. Bobby Joe says, "Do you still have lower back pain?" Occasionally, I get sciatica that flares up. I just have to be very careful with what I do in the gym. So, it gets a little bit inflamed every once in a while. Ghostface Killer says, "I would like to listen to the podcast, but I don't feel like paying $10. Sorry, John, I'm cheap." Oh, completely understandable. I'm going to lower the podcast perk to like the $5 thing on Patreon and YouTube members. I'm going to lower it down to that. Maybe I'll do that today, just to make it more accessible for everyone. You know, like I think I'm going to do that. So. But either way, you just come here and hang out with me. That's all I ask. Just look at my stupid face. That's all I ask from you. Claudia Rojan says, Moon Knight cut a guy's face off in the comics. I remember you mentioned... No, did you mention that? You mentioned that to me, didn't you? Yeah, I know that. I don't think we're going to get that gritty in the show. Maybe they'll show something like that, but not actually show it. Cut his face off and wear it like baloney, like Buffalo Bill. Joseph Knowles says, what happens if you don't watch a Nicolas Cage movie every so often? You go utterly insane. And then you turn into a vampire. Anthony Gaming 67 says, when are you going to see you and Chris in another movie review? When are we going to see you and Chris in another movie review? That's at the discretion of Chris. I'm down. I'm ready whenever, man. It's sort of up to him. I've tried. Claudia Rojan says, Short Round is in everything, everywhere at once. Oh, is he? I didn't know that. Okay. I did not know he was in there. Huh. Dr. Jones. That's good. I hope he has some booby traps. I didn't know he was in there. I thought he retired from acting, but that's good to know. Majestic Beast 01 says, thoughts on Friends? Never got into Friends. I was always more of like a Seinfeld type of guy growing up. Friends just was not my kind of show. I was like, yeah. It wasn't for me. I didn't care about Joey, Rachel, Ross, Phoebe, Chancellor, and whoever else was in there. I just never cared. I was more about Seinfeld. I liked the show about nothing a little bit more. Collie Wally says, hey there, John. I'll be graduating tech school in 2 weeks, and I'll be receiving my diploma in graphic design. Any tips for the new journey forward? Ooh, man, jump on it quick. I hope you're good at what you can do. I hope you're very proficient in all the software, because anybody that hires you wants you to be good at everything. They're like, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do bullshit that no one ever uses? Are you really good at it? And no matter what they ask of you, just say yes. Just smile and say, yes, I am. So good luck, man. I would reach out to some companies maybe that you wouldn't think of that would hire a graphic designer, for example. I knew one girl who got a job at an RV where they made RVs. It was like a factory, but she was hired in as their graphic designer, and all she would do is put like she designed the really generic design that was made out of vinyl that go on the side of like big RV campers. You know, the shit that looks like a little wave and a swirl or whatever. And she made a lot of like really good money doing that. So, yeah, I know it's a very competitive field. I briefly worked in graphic design, but I really got hired into a marketing company where I didn't really get to do much of the graphic design. It was more the marketing side of things. So yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough to get into it. And the unfortunate thing about graphic design is a lot of people don't value it as much as they once did, especially when you have like websites like Fiverr, when you have kids making logos for $3. But yeah, man, just look around, apply it to as many places as you can immediately, and good luck. Godspeed. Carter Lovejoy says, thoughts on Robert Eggers' first feature, The Witch. I remember seeing a video of yours years ago saying you didn't like it and you gave the Blu-ray away to a friend. I sold the Blu-ray to a friend. I liked the vibe of The Witch. I liked the time period. But the ending left me wanting and disappointed. I was like, oh, because witches. And they're just floating. They're floating in the trees. I thought everything up until that point was brilliant. It's almost like Robert Eggers sometimes. It's almost like he doesn't know how to end his movies. So he either just makes some like bizarre ending where it's like it's not really explained. It's kind of ambiguous ever so slightly. I guess when it comes to his movies, I really enjoy like 98% of them. And it's always his endings where I'm just like, huh, all right. It's almost like they couldn't come up with an ending. So they're like, well, we have 7 minutes. Let's shoot something. That's my only complaint with him. Joseph Knowles says, improv a Tarantino movie by adding Shrek. That could be any Tarantino movie. Anything. If you put Shrek and Samuel L. Jackson together in a movie, just hanging out, being two hitmen, imagine that. Imagine the possibilities. Or, here's another one for you. It's going to get dark. I want you guys to know this right now. This is going to get dark. Okay? If you can't handle raw, visceral entertainment, I want you to put your earmuffs on right now. Are they on? I hope not. Imagine Pulp Fiction. But instead of Ving Rhames playing the character of Marcellus Wallace, imagine Shrek. Now close your eyes and imagine Shrek in the pawn shop basement scene before Bruce Willis saves him. Now open your eyes and let me just say, I'm sorry, and let's move on. From now on, there is no me and you. Your LA privileges are revoked. Bye. Oh, God, I love it. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Dan says, good evening, John. What's your favorite Oliver Stone movie? That's a tough one. Maybe I really like Born on the 4th of July. I really love it or leave it, Tommy. Love it or leave it, Tommy. Maybe Born on 4th of July, I would say, might be one of my favorites from him. Maybe there's something I'm forgetting, though. Oliver Stone loves his Vietnam movies, man. Let's see what else we have from good old Oliver Stone. I saw Oliver Stone once in person. Yeah, I'm probably going to go with Born on the 4th of July. I like JFK. I know he wrote Scarface. He did the screenplay for it. He didn't direct it. But if you want me to say my favorite Oliver Stone film that he directed, yeah, I might go with Born on the 4th of July, man, off the top of my head here. But I will say I did see him in person once. He was doing a conference for his new movie Snowden at the time. I got to see him in Zurich, Switzerland, actually, which was really cool, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt was there as well. But that was really cool to see him like speak for a few minutes. That was really neat. So, where was I here? Okay, where am I at? Platoon. Yeah, Platoon's really good too. I think Platoon probably is his most rewatchable movie. But man, something about Born on the 4th of July. I don't know why. I like movies about the human element quite a bit. So it really gives you that. All right, the next one comes from Joseph Knowles. Does Ron Perlman look like a crusty raisin? Ron Perlman almost looks like... He doesn't look human, does he? He almost looks like he was made out of, like, prosthetics that they found laying around somewhere. He has such a unique look to him, right? But speaking of Ron Perlman, one of my favorite lines he's ever given in film or any film is his line in the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling, where he just all of a sudden goes, "That's one fine motherfucking pussy mobile," or something. He goes, what's he say? He says, "That's one fine pussy mobile, motherfucker," or something like that. Just YouTube it right now and try not to laugh. It's hilarious. Glady Rogue John says, "Have you seen Reacher yet? Please watch it." I watched the trailer. I know the guy in Reacher looks like a badass. I just don't know if I can bring myself to watch it anytime soon. It just, I feel like time is such a precious commodity, and to spend like 8 hours watching the series Reacher, I just don't know if I have it in me, to be real with you. Aaron Nerswick says, "Did you see X yet? Also, what were your thoughts on Hereditary and Midsommar?" X was interesting to me. I liked the vibe of the movie. You can definitely tell they were inspired by films like something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The thing with the film X was, at one point in the film, you're like, okay, this is what's going on. I get it. And then it's just sort of like, yeah, that's what it is, you know? Maybe I was hoping for more. Okay, I'll say this. I'll say this on a positive note. If they had treated the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film that was shit out on Netflix with the same kind of creativity and craftsmanship that the film X was treated with, if they had just made X like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque movie with the character Leatherface, I think that would have been exactly what the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre should have been. As far as the movie X goes, it's crazy and bizarre. It's sick and twisted. I definitely don't think I could ever just sit down and watch it again. But I have heard they're making a prequel movie to it, which I think could be intriguing. I actually think the prequel to that could be more intriguing than this version was, knowing what I know now. So, yeah, I liked the way it looked. I will say that. I liked the vibe of it. It was a nice throwback to those 1970s type horror films or slasher movies or just weird ass movies in general. As far as Hereditary and Midsommar, I'm not Hereditary. I really enjoyed until the last sequence of the film when she starts crawling on the walls. I'm like, oh, all right, we just went for it. And then at the very end, it's just everyone in a treehouse in some kind of weird cult looking at a bright red light, from what I vaguely remember. So I felt nothing. Midsommar, wasn't a huge fan either. Sell Me on Craigslist says, do you watch anime? If so, what are your favorites? I've watched some anime. I can appreciate it. I can respect it. For me, it just never... I'm just not a big fan, man. I understand why some people like it. At points, it's the most... I get why people like anime. It's almost like the purest form of storytelling in a way, right? So I understand it. For me, I don't know. Maybe it's the anime itself that I feel like kind of... It almost sometimes feels like a little bit of style over substance sometimes. I don't know. I've watched some anime. Stuckman has shown me some of his favorite animes of all time, and I'm like, yeah, I get it, man. I like it. I just don't love it. The next one comes from BTS. John, get off your butt and make more content, you freaking jabroni. I'm sitting here making content right now. This is the real purest form of content you'll ever get. It's not me hiding behind my editing software with some fucking script in front of me. This is me to you. It's pure. It's unadulterated. This is content. It's not a 5 fucking minute movie review with the jump cuts. This is an hour-long Q&A where I take every question you guys have and I give you raw, visceral thoughts. Pour it out of my mouth from you, right or wrong. This is content, okay? This is the content I would prefer to watch. This is the content I would prefer to make. And this is the content I will give you. So I am making content, but I will, man. I just wanted to take a little break this month. Just a little break. You know what I mean? At some point, when it feels like I'm just shitting out videos to shit out videos, I don't like that. I don't know how some people do it. I really don't. But when I just oh, it's Tuesday, I gotta put out a video. Whenever I tell myself that, I'm like, no, you shouldn't be putting out a video. You shouldn't be doing it. You need to wait until you want to do it. So that was the hold up with the content this week. Someone said anime is for children. I wouldn't say all anime is for children. Some of the anime I've seen involve squids, man. Squids with tentacles. All right. Bruce Cook says... they shouldn't have cast Jared Leto in Blade Runner 2049 either. I agree. I don't know what it is with Jared Leto. Every time he's in a movie, it literally takes me out of the movie. It almost cheapens it to a degree. Now, not every single movie. There's been some good performances he's done very well. But lately, for like the last like 5 years, every time I see Jared Leto in a movie, I'm like, yeah, I would prefer anyone else to be in that movie. James Castro says, good to see you, Johnny. Well, good to see you too, man. Michael Parton says, squid. Absolutely. I'd like to own a squid. MKF30 says, do you think Warner Brothers should recast Ezra Miller? At this point, it's like, dude, stop. Just stop being a piece of shit, man. Like, you're a millionaire. You're starring in comic book movies. Just stop. Stop going to the bar and getting arrested. It's not fucking hard. Just do it. So yes, if I was Warner Brothers, first of all, I don't give a shit about Ezra Miller playing the Flash. I've never thought he was that great of a Flash, and I think he's easily replaceable. So if I was Warner Brothers, I would replace him. I don't think there's this huge demographic of people clamoring at Ezra Miller to be Flash. I think if you just replaced Ezra Miller as Flash in the next Flash movie, they'd blink their eyes and be like, oh, okay. Like, no one would really care. It's not that significant. And I don't think he's brought so much to the character that you would even notice. I think he could easily be replaced. And if I was Warner Brothers and I had this guy that we were paying millions of dollars to be in our big tentpole blockbuster movie that gets arrested every 2 weeks, I would probably replace him as well. With a better actor that's probably more entertaining and a better fit for Barry Allen, the Flash. So, yeah, and the thing with the Flash, if they do the multiverse with DC, well, then you could replace him as the Flash. Like, you could just have another incarnation of Flash show up and be Flash. And I think there were some rumors going around of the dude that plays Flash in the TV series stepping up to do it. So, why not? The next one comes from Claudia Rojan says, Leto shot up water to prepare for Requiem. Why? He shot up water like he injected water into his veins? Okay, well, good for him. DJ Run says, would you rather be able to only watch movies before 1995 or only movies 1995 and after? That's a very thought-provoking question. I want to give you a really profound answer, but it's really hard for me to do so. I would say movies pre-1995 really define who I am as a person. In a way, a lot of my personality traits, things I like, dislike, the reason I am who I am, I would say some of those reasons are because of movies pre-1995. Those are the movies that sort of I grew up on and define me as a person, as a man, and as an individual. Right or wrong, those are the things that define me. But man, there's a lot of good fucking movies after 1995, man. There's a lot of great movies after 1995, including some of my favorite movies of all time. So that's a great question. I think if you removed everything pre-1995, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I'm going to stick with the pre-1995 movies. I have to. I just have to. That's a tough question. I think a lot of people maybe younger would definitely say everything after 1995. But that's a great question. I'm going to stick with pre-1995. I have to. The next one comes from somebody here. What is this? Double Chief says, nothing, but thanks for the super chat, Double Chief. Joseph Knowles says, Jim Carrey recently said he's going to make another Ace Ventura movie if Nolan directed it. That would be phenomenal. You know, I watched Bruce Almighty the other night for the first time in a very long time. And Jim Carrey's comedy style, man, I don't know what it is. I just don't find it funny anymore. I find it funny in the sense of like, I'm laughing at it, not with it anymore. I'm just like, I look at it, I'm like, that really worked for him for a very long time. Like, a lot of people liked that. And I look back at it now, I'm just like, sometimes I look at it, I'm like, that's sad. And like, don't get me wrong. There was a time and a place for it, but something about Jim Carrey comedy, when you watch it now with like a fresh eyes, it's bizarre. It's almost bizarre. I don't know. Maybe it was just Bruce Almighty is not that great of a movie. Like Jim Carrey comedy definitely works for like the Dumb and Dumber movies and a handful of other things, but some of his other movies where it's just like the same Jim Carrey jokes, like Bruce Almighty or, I don't know. Do you guys still think Jim Carrey's funny? I'm genuinely curious. Do you? Like The Truman Show. Yes, that was a good blend of Jim Carrey comedy with like real acting. It wasn't like just the zany Jim Carrey show the whole time. Claudia Rojan says, Short Round is a main character, sounds same too. Does he? That's great. I hope he does sound the same. I don't want a thing to change. Ishan Malawat says, what are some of your future goals, John? For me, my future goal is just to be able to do what I want on a consistent basis. And I like to enjoy the simple things in life, the small things in life. And that is really my goal. Just to kind of be content and have what I want to have in life. Those are really my future goals, man. I'll keep it real with you. I like talking about movies. I like watching movies. But just to have a happy, healthy life. That's the realest answer I can give you. And to get really filthy fucking rich and buy a Batmobile. That would be great too. But beyond those things, yeah, just happy, healthy life, man. It's kind of, the older you get, you're just like, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So true. But thank you for the question, man. Timo B says, Flick Mystical Guru, hope you're on top of returning your videotapes. Fan since Tiny Todd days. Whatever came of him, make like a tree and get out of here. Thank you for that, man. Yeah, Tiny Todd, I buried him in the $5 Blu-ray bin in Walmart in a Flip Trip video back in 2014. That's what happened. Will he ever be resurrected by Satan himself? Maybe. I don't know. If you guys don't know who Tiny Todd is, I'll just continue on. But thank you, man. Thank you. Thanks for sticking around for so long. DJ Run01 says, DJ Run says, can you do a Christopher Walken impression while getting slapped by Will Smith? I can. And because you gave me $1.50, I'll do it. Okay. And scene. And we got Jada over there looking like G.I. Jane or something. Whap. And then, I don't remember what happens after that. I would have went to continue on. If Christopher Walken was up there, what Christopher Walken would have done? He would have stopped the slap, judo style, and said, your mother, just gorgeous. The other day, she told me a story about Jada. Well, Jada was hanging out with 5 guys behind Kmart. Don't ask me where I'm going with this. I don't know. Don't ever ask me to do that again. Shame on me. Paul Gilmore says, tell me, John, how do you deal with depression and have no motivation to work out or eat right? Well, the thing is, with me, when I have depression, oddly enough, I want to work out more. Usually. See, for me, when it comes to depression, my biggest limiting factors are I don't want to make videos. I don't want to hear my own voice. So what I do is I try to find things that distract me from doing those things. So oddly enough, yeah, I usually, when I'm depressed, I usually leave the house more. It's not like I'm going to like social occasions or events. I usually like, I'll want to work out more or just go do random things, maybe go on walks. I don't know. Or maybe just keep it simple and watch a lot of movies and take gummies. You know the gummies I'm talking about. So things like that. That's usually what I do. What was the other question? Eat right? It's not that hard to eat right, man. It's not that hard. Eat grilled chicken sandwiches all day. You'll be okay. So yeah, usually that's what I do. You got to step back from what you're doing every day and just reevaluate. That's what I found works. Joseph Knowles says, does Ryan Gosling in Drive look like Buzz Lightyear without the helmet? Slightly, yeah. Yeah, he does. He does. James says, Johnny, of all the channels I watch, your live chat is the best because it's the honest. It's the most honest. Well, thanks for that, man. I try. That's why I like doing the live shows. I have to be honest with you. I can't hide. When I can edit something and I can sit there for 5 hours and jump cut it and edit it, I find it degrades the truth because now I'm overthinking everything. With the live shows, I'm either completely right or completely wrong or somewhere in the middle where I just don't care. So that's why I like the live shows. Majestic Beast 01 says, where does the Batman fall in your Batman ranking? I think right now to rank the Batman in my overall favorite Batman movies, I don't like to do things that early. And that was another reason I didn't initially review the Batman movie because I want to get it right. And the thing is, I've seen the Batman 2 times. I think I liked it more the second time. But it's one of those movies that I need to watch again a few more times to really like place it. You know, it's definitely the most Batman-esque Batman movie we've ever gotten, right? 99% of all of the scenes in that film feature Batman, which is great. And it's definitely in the top 2. It's probably in the top 2 or 3 right now. Really, the only competitors I would say that are with the Batman would be like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, honestly. You know, as far as like pacing goes, as far as like an overall movie, I think The Dark Knight is superior in that regard. But man, like I said, the Batman was just sort of like what I wanted. It really was. It was like that tone I was craving for a long time, and it just so happened to be the Batman. Like, you know, it almost was like something like it was like a 1970s, 80s vigilante movie, like something like Taxi Driver, but it just happens to be Batman, you know? So it's definitely my top 2 right now. I probably my top 2 Batman movies of all time. The next one comes from Joseph Knowles. Cast a live-action Finding Nemo. Obviously, Willem Dafoe has to return. And do you like the original Finding Nemo? I do like the original Finding Nemo. I think it's really good. I definitely get rid of Ellen DeGeneres. Did Ellen DeGeneres play Dory? Was that who played Dory, or was that someone else? I don't remember. Let's get rid of her. I don't know. I like the original cast of Finding Nemo. I think like the kid actor sounds good. The what's his name who plays the dad was good. I don't think I could replace it, to be honest with you. I don't even want to try. But speaking of Finding Nemo, I'll tell you something that's been bothering me lately. You know that movie where Will Smith plays a fucking goldfish or whatever he plays? He plays a fish. What is that, Shark Tale or something? Where he's like a little smiling fish on the cover like that. It just looks like Will Smith. That has been popping up on my Fire Stick. Like every time I open it, that movie pops up. And I don't know why. And it really bothers me. Anyone else? Okay, let's continue on. Yeaman John says, The Batman is currently the highest grossing film of 2022 so far. Warner Bros. Most successful film in the pandemic era. Well, good for it, and it deserves every dollar and every penny it's made. So yeah, technically the highest grossing film in 2022 so far, yeah. I think like Jurassic Park is probably going to take that. Or actually, Doctor Strange might take it, man. Doctor Strange or Jurassic World Dominion might take that. But yeah, good for Batman, man. It'll be on HBO Max in just a few weeks. It's coming to HBO Max on my birthday. So when you watch The Batman at home on April 19th, I want you to think of me. Okay? All right, let's keep going here. Baron says, I just finished Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with my dad like a few minutes ago. He loved the ending with the house invasion. Thoughts on the house invasion at the end? Oh, man. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was one of those movies where it needed a really good ending to be justified. Not to say I love everything in the movie. I really do. The more I watch that movie, the more I love it. But it really did need that ending, right? It needed something to give it purpose for existing. And I wasn't expecting that ending, the twist and the turns and the sort of retelling of historical events. I love it. I loved everything about it. And the fucking, I don't want to spoil it, even though it came out like 3 years ago, but the flamethrower scene at the very end of the movie, it just like, I just remember like cheering for the death of someone to be burned alive. I'm like, yay, they're being burned alive. It's so good. And then you watch the new Scream movie and they sort of just copy and pasted the same shit. Flick Daddy 420 says, would you rather eat poop flavored chocolate or chocolate flavored poop? Probably the most profound question of the day. I'm going to go with poop flavored chocolate, right? Because I'm still eating chocolate. It doesn't taste that good, but it's chocolate I'm eating. With the other one, I'm eating shit, man. It tastes good, but I'm eating shit. No, thank you. Mike Spoon says, Sup, John. Hope all is well. I need your thoughts on Bojangles, the fast food restaurant. Okay. I think I might have eaten at Bojangles maybe once in my life, so I don't know. I know you don't live near one now, but when you lived in South Carolina, did you eat there? Also, best milkshake at a restaurant, fast food joint. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, where did I go? I went to, when I lived in South Carolina, I went to a place called Cookout quite often, which is maybe like a Bojangles or something. Best milkshake at a restaurant. I really like Steak and Shake's milkshakes because they put like some whipped cream on top of them. Pretty good stuff. I'd go with that. What is it? Fulanito says, John, I would love to hear your thoughts on Everything Everywhere All at Once. I haven't seen the movie yet. For me, it was such a unique and memorable movie theater experience for me, to say the least. I really loved it. Go check it out. I'm hearing a lot of good things. Okay. The trailer to me did not look that intriguing. But people are selling me now. I'll check it out. Yeaman John says, we see 36 minutes of footage of Bruce Lee's Game of Death, but it's been a myth that Bruce Lee shot over 100 minutes of footage, and it's at Golden Harvest Archives in Hong Kong. Yeah, I've heard a lot of theories and speculations on the Game of Death movie, and that's just what they are so far. That would be amazing if there was more footage somewhere and they could somehow salvage that and do something with it and maybe fill in the gaps somehow, some way. But yeah, I don't know how to really expand on it much more than that, man. Double Chief says, will Stuckman's Stuckman's Shelby Oaks outgross No Way Home? It'll probably come pretty close. Only if he has 3 Stuckmans in the movie at once and one comes through a portal. Possibly. Joseph Knowles says, did you watch the PowerPoint on history from Fair Baron Films on YouTube? I recommended it in the last live stream. I did not watch it yet. I remembered that you said it, though. I haven't got around to watching it yet. Not yet, man, but I want to. Night King 01 says, Cable Guy is genius, in my opinion. Laugh aloud. I always sort of liked Cable Guy. I really like the scene where they're like dueling at the medieval restaurant. I always liked that. I also really enjoyed the scene where Matthew Broderick's character Steven goes to take a shower and he comes out, and Jim Carrey rearranged his living room to coincide with the best viewing experience of his TV. For some reason, I was like, I can respect that in a way. Yeaman John says, since Batman and Robin killed Batman from 1997 to 2005, almost a decade, Batman was buried 6 feet under Nolan. Until Nolan. What was your life? What was your life has been as Batman fan during those years? Yeah, so it was kind of a dark, weird time, right, to be alive, because basically for me, Batman and Robin, even watching it as a kid, I was like, this isn't good. This isn't right. This is not as good as Michael Keaton's Batman. It's just not what I wanted to see. And I remember for a long time, man, there was like no Batman movies. Like you just had to either watch those shitty Schumacher movies or you had to go back and revisit the Tim Burton Batman movies. It was sort of a dark void in existence. And I actually vividly remember the first trailer I watched for Batman Begins, because it's not until like the last few seconds of that trailer where you see Christian Bale, and it's like, okay, he's training to be a ninja. It looks like it takes place in a foreign land. I was like, okay, is this some kind of like ninja movie? And then you're like seeing little speckles of something else. I'm like, no, did they make like a Bruce Wayne movie, like an origin story, like way before Batman? And finally at the end of that trailer where they open up the cabinet and you see the bat cow, I was like, holy shit, like this looks like a real movie that happens to have Batman in it. It doesn't look like a toy commercial like what Joel Schumacher was shitting out in the mid-1990s. It looks real. So that was like, in a way, that almost like re-sparked my love for movies and film to look at them in a different way ever since that. So I think I sort of answered your question. But yeah, it wasn't a fun time. Stephanie Myers, thanks for the super chat, Stephanie, but no question, but thank you ever so kindly. I think you probably put a super sticker in there, not a super chat, but thank you. Max Nugenbauer says, I think Will Smith is banned from the Oscars for 10 years is too harsh, but lots of people have different opinions. What's yours? We talked about this earlier, and I hate to talk about Will Smith, honestly. It's a waste of time, because at the end of the day, with the whole Will Smith controversy, he has more money than you and I and everyone else watching right now combined, so what does it really matter? It doesn't. It really doesn't. I mean, what? So he can't go to the Oscar ceremony for 10 years and get a golden statue? A tear will trickle down my eye every time I think about it. I think if you're going to step up on stage and assault someone physically over like a very PG joke, I think it should almost be a lifetime ban. I really do. I just think it's inexcusable. I really do. So that's what I think. I would say if you can't control yourself, then you shouldn't be here ever. And I think there should have been a harsher punishment for it, but that's just me. Baron says, favorite Tarantino character? Mine is King Schultz, and Joel's from Woodenfield, and there's just so many. A few of mine might be Dr. King Schultz. Let me introduce you to my good friend Django. Those are a few good ones, man. I would say Jules, man. You got to go with Jules from Pulp Fiction, Samuel L. Jackson. That's one of them. Also, I would say, Honestly, anytime Samuel L. Jackson's in any Tarantino movie, I would say he's probably one of my favorite characters. Like his character in The Hateful Eight. Phenomenal. Trying to think of somebody else maybe a little bit different. I mean, I even like the Gimp in Pulp Fiction down in the basement. But I always lean towards Samuel L. Jackson in any of his movies. I mean, I like Django. I liked Jamie Foxx's Django. Like that was a great story about retribution. So I'd say those are a few. Oh, and not to mention Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, man. Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. I actually like both of their. I almost relate to Leonardo DiCaprio's character in a weird way, maybe a little bit too much in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like I can almost relate to his character. Like I understand that guy. I get it. But Cliff Booth was also great too, man. Just a cool guy. He's a stuntman in Hollywood. Yeaman John says, I really like Rob Pattinson's portrayal of Bruce Wayne. He is so brooding. As much as brooding as Hamlet, he's so gothic. He looks like he lost eighth family member of Adam's. He looks like the lost eighth family member of Adam's family. Yeah, Robert Pattinson, when he was like Bruce Wayne and he was all like skinny and pale and he looked kind of like clammy. He just looked clammy to the touch, didn't he? That dude, yeah, he looked grotesque. But he was like, it was great. Like it showed it. He almost looked like he was addicted to being Batman, to the point where like if you're addicted to heroin, for example, there are side effects physically. You're all skinny and frail and you just look fucked up. And that's kind of what he looked like without the cape and cowl. Like he looked like a drug addict and Batman was his drug. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. Obed Arzaga says, thoughts on Now You See Me movies. I fucking hate them. I hate those movies. What I hate about them is it's just like, look, magic tricks. Let's rob places. And then it's just the most far-fetched like spectacle. It's not even like an optical illusion anymore. It's just like some magical thing that happened. It wasn't like they're great magicians who can make something disappear with like hiding it and doing some kind of trickery. They're literally like sending things to other dimensions to pull things off that make no sense. So it sort of takes me out of them. It's almost like they have superpowers, but yet they're using magic to explain it when some of them are unexplainable. I just remember watching the second one in theaters and just thinking this is like one of the worst movies ever made. And some people liked them, and I was like, how? How did you like that? So anyway, that's what I remember. But the last time I watched, when was the last one? Did the last one come out in like 2011? I don't even remember the last movie. I just remember it ended where they're on like a merry-go-round or something. I don't remember. Does it really matter? Quentin says, if you could live any character's life in any universe, who and what would it be? That's a great question. You think about like which movie character would you truly want to be? And like I don't know if I'd want to do it all the time, but I would like to be Jake Sully in Avatar just for like a day. Like you're swinging around in this tropical rainforest, you're a 9-foot-tall blue alien guy hanging out with some chick, making love under the tree of life. I just think that would be a really magical day. I really do. Like you're tapping trees, they're lighting up. Who couldn't have a good time with that? Now, I don't want it to be the day where Stephen Lang gets in a robot mech suit and tries to kill me with a giant knife. Don't make it that day. But make it the day where I'm just hanging out, flying on dragons and shit, lighting up plants. That just looks like a really good time. So probably Jake Sully in Avatar. That would be the day I would like to experience as a character in a movie. Or I have another one. How about this? Now, as a kid, I was always so jealous of this movie character. And let me tell you why and which character this is. Young John Connor in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, when he's hanging out with the T-800 played by Arnold, and he's just on that motorcycle, hanging out, and Arnold's like, I'm your protector, I'll do anything you say. That to me was like, when I was a young kid, like I always daydreamed about that. Like maybe one day the T-1000 will come and kill both my parents, God forbid, but maybe he does, and I have to go on the run with the T-800 endoskeleton cybernetic organism robot because he needs to protect me. And he does whatever I tell him to. And then we get to blow some shit up, we get to hang out, and then I have to kill him by dipping him into melting steel. Am I the only one who felt that way as a 9-year-old kid? Please tell me I'm not alone. Let's keep going. Oh, God. Okay. The next one comes from Strawberry Burst 27. And thank you for the very generous super chat. Thanks for telling me to skip Morbius. I can sleep at night knowing I skipped that trash. I mean, I wasn't going to see it anyway, but thanks for confirming it. Yeah, you're not missing much, really. You're not really missing anything. And I have this theory that it's not going to matter. Like, Sony has these big plans, these big ideas, because they want to do a shared Sonyverse. But this is their second attempt at trying to do it. And I still don't think they're going to get it right. I really don't. I mean, at some point, they'll probably just throw Spider-Man in there, and because Spider-Man's in it, people will watch it. But it won't be because anything else they're building up towards it. I can promise you that. Night King 01 says, I think X-Men Last Stand is on par with 1 and 2. They are just blah, in my opinion. In some regards, X-Men Last Stand is just like kind of schlocky entertainment. Like, story-wise, it takes a deep dive into shit. But as far as just like watching it for pure entertainment's sake, I can understand that. Like, there's some fun moments in that movie. There's some also very cringy moments in that movie. But like when, what's his face? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Like, that's so stupid, but I kind of like it. There's moments in that movie, in all fairness, sure. X-Men 2 is by far the best blend of like story and action. And the first X-Men movie, in my opinion, has not aged that well. I went back to revisit that maybe a year or two ago, and I was like, yeah, like I get it was like the first of many decent comic book movies. Like, it sort of revamped the genre of comic book movies in a way, and for that it deserves all the credit you can give it. But going back, it doesn't hold up that well. But yeah, I get it. X-Men Last Stand, like, we can both agree it's better than Dark Phoenix or whatever the fuck that was. What was that called? Dark Phoenix? Was that what it was called? Yeah, way better than that. I still my favorite is still Days of Future Past by far. But yeah, I can't wait to see what Disney and Marvel do with X-Men going forward. I really hope they just give them the costumes and they go for it. And I hope it's also in its own universe. I do not want it to be set in the same planet as the Avengers. That's my personal opinion, but Jalen Martin says, thoughts on Milk with Sean Penn. I've seen it once. Based on a true story. I thought it was interesting. I watched it once. I don't remember a lot about it. I thought Sean Penn was good in the role. Doesn't he play a gay activist or gay politician in San Francisco trying to do something? That's what I vaguely remember about it. I could be wrong, but yeah, I liked it. I just haven't. It definitely was like a one watch movie in my opinion. Simon Rex says, has anyone ever told you you look like me? I don't know. No, they have not. More importantly, has anyone ever told you that you look like me? Claudia Rogajon says, X-Men 1 and 2 don't hold up that well. 1 for sure. Yeah, 1 definitely doesn't. 2 overall does. I never loved 2 as much as some people did, but definitely the superior of the X-Men movies. Joseph Knowles says, should Squidward play Bilbo Baggins? Yes. But now who should Patrick play? Sam? I think Patrick could play Sam, right? Absolutely. All right. The next one comes from Yeaman John. Professor Pig might be an interesting villain to the Batman sequel. He is Buffalo Bill of the Batman villains. Professor Pig? I don't know much about that character. Professor Pig. Sure, why not? I'm down. I will say this. I hope we don't get that version of Joker that was in the deleted the Batman scene. I hope we don't get a lot of that going forward. I would be okay if we didn't have that. Some people like that. I just was like, it looks like too much. It's like it's trying too hard. Most overrated X-Men movie is Logan? I don't think that's overrated at all, man. I think that's exactly what it should be. I don't think it's perfect, but it's a damn good movie. I don't think it's overrated. I would disagree with that. First Class was good. Oh, yeah, I forgot about First Class. First Class is good. I think the first half of First Class is the best part of First Class. The second half kind of starts falling apart for me. But the first half is so great when you have young Magneto in the concentration camps as a child, and then he's killing Nazis. That's some good stuff. Avatar is overrated movie, really sucks. It's an experience. It's an immersive experience that takes you out of your living room and puts you in Pandora. Is the story substandard? Sure. Yes, it is. Is it fun to look at? Yes, it is. I like it. And I'll stand by that until the day I die. Let's see. Claudia Rojan says, they also outright said he fell in acid. Mistake. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he kind of... I don't know if that version of Joker looked like he fell in acid or tried to eat a weed whacker. It was just too much shit going on. And it just felt like... It almost felt like a guy who likes to do cosplay Joker trying to do his best, like, fan-made Joker impression. It was just like a culmination of every Joker I've seen on screen combined into one without having a true identity. I just was not a fan of it. Night King 01 says, Joker looked like he was about to fall asleep. Yeah. Barry what is his name? Barry Coegan? Whatever. I don't think he's right for the role. I just don't think that's the right casting choice for that. Double Chief says, Men in Black, that's a must-own novel. The Men in Black novel? I don't know. Are we talking about the movie? What are we talking about right now? Kenji says, thanks for the super chat, Kenji. Thoughts on Daredevil returning? Yes, please, give it to me now. I think we need a new Daredevil season because that's definitely one character that lends itself perfectly to a series, and they can be its own thing. So yeah, I hope they stick to that kind of the grit that the Netflix version had, if it's hitting Disney Plus. I just watched the 2003 Daredevil movie, and it's bad, laugh out loud. But as a teenager, I thought the movie was awesome, and that's what got me interested in the character. Well, good for you, man. Yeah, I never thought it was that good of a movie, even as a teenager. I sort of like was mildly entertained by it. I liked sort of the soundtrack to it with Evanescence and like Daredevil, go. And then you had Colin Farrell playing Bullseye, just like in a laughable performance when he points to his head, Bullseye. Nah, not a very good movie. And there's an interesting story on that, why Ben Affleck took that. See, Ben Affleck was always a lifelong Batman fan, and for many years he wanted to be Batman. But when he got offered Daredevil, He pretty much said, you know what? They're never going to offer me the role of Batman. I might as well take this character role, or the role of Daredevil. And he did. And then coincidentally, he eventually became Batman. So. Movie Mad says, hey folks, wait. Hi folks, wait up, 6 a.m. and the flick pick is on. Where do you live that it's 6 a.m.? Do you live in the UK? What time zone is that? John, what are your thoughts on the Halo show? I have not watched it yet. From everything I know about it thus far, I probably never will. I like the Halo games. But as far as the show goes, it sounds like they're sort of like destroying all canon. I know Master Chief reveals himself in the first episode or two, which sort of just seems like a mistake. Like, why not go the Mandalorian route? Less is more. The Mystique Master Chief is always better with his helmet on. When you take that off, it sort of ruins that illusion. Or at least save it till the season finale. I don't know, but I don't think I'm probably going to dedicate time to watching it. Let's see. And thanks for being a member, Movie Mad, for how long? 30 months? 30 months? You're from Scotland? That's awesome. I hope you're doing good in Scotland, man. I'd like to go to Scotland someday. Stand on the edge of a cliff, look down. The Halo show is terrible. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Dude, honestly, when it comes to TV series, I'm just waiting for the new season of Better Call Saul. I need it. I want it. Stranger Things is coming out at some point. Is it maybe this summer and fall? What else? There's another series coming out that I was looking forward to at some point. And then you have Ozark, the second part of the season coming out. So there's things coming eventually. Which Criterions do I own? I'm not sure of every Criterion I own. I can only tell you my favorite Criterion that I own, and that's probably Dazed and Confused. I think that's one of the best Criterions ever released. $100,000 subs, you should eat 100 submarine sandwiches. I'll definitely do something if I can get 100,000 subs. We're not far off, guys. We're only 500 people away. It's so close I can taste it. What does it taste like? I'm almost ashamed to tell you. It's sweet and salty, but delicious. Yeah, so we'll do something for 100,000 subs. We'll do some kind of fun live stream. I promise you that. We might even have some giveaways. Cobra Kai Season 5, No Mercy. Fuck yeah, baby. Give me that. Sweep the leg. By the way, fun thing. I was in Best Buy the other day. And let's see. Hang on a second here. I saw something that made me laugh. Hang on. I don't think you guys can see it. Hang on. Focus. There it is. Look at that. It's a Cobra Kai toy with Kreese fighting a Ninja Turtle. That's a 75-year-old man who just kind of knows how to do karate fighting a mutated turtle. Who do you think's going to fucking win in that? Sensei Kreese, obviously. Because why? No mercy. That's why. You're fucking dead, Raphael. But anyway, I thought that was hilarious when I saw that in Best Buy. I almost bought it. I almost wanted to buy it, take it home, and play with it in the bathtub. But I didn't. I should have. The next one comes from Double Chief, and he says, Men in Black, that's a must-own novel. My fave of all... What? My fave all-time quote of yours. From a vid where you were exploring Stuckman's basement. Oh, thank you. Yes, okay. I will give you guys an explanation of what we're talking about. There was a video where I was recording Stuckman's basement, just making fun of stuff. and I came across the Men in Black novelization. And I was like, oh, that's a must-own novel. Like, why did you buy the Men in Black novel? Like how good of a read could that be? Just watch the fucking movie. Now I recall. Thank you. I love when people reference things I forgot that existed. And then as soon as you reference it, like unlocks a memory I forgot I had. So thank you for that. Yeaman John says, have you seen Stone Cold return at WrestleMania 38? I did, man. It made me feel like a little kid once again. That was a good WrestleMania. Overall, that was a damn good WrestleMania. I had a good time. It was, as soon as Stone Cold came out and he was wearing both knee braces, I was like, okay, something's going down. But it was a good time. Joseph Knowles says, should your pour cappuccinos on your shoes in Texas at 6:42 a.m.? Should you? Yes. I don't know. Yes. I feel like that's a riddle, and I just had an aneurysm reading it. But yes, Joseph. Claudia Rogojan says, he said Joker was about to fall asleep, not asleep. Oh, about to fall apart. I'm about to fall asleep, and I'm about to fall apart. Correct. I stand corrected. Yes, the Joker. You know what the Joker looked like in that deleted scene? He looked like when you eat, like, okay, you make a frozen pizza, right? You eat it, but there's like 2 pieces left over, and it's on your stove, and you get really lazy for like 3 days, and it starts crusting apart and almost becoming moldy and getting crustier and crustier. And that's what the Joker's face looked like, except I didn't want to eat it. Joseph Knowles says, John, search up The Dogfather. Please watch it. The Dogfather? Why does that sound familiar to me? Oh, is that that show that was on AMC one time? Hang on. I don't know what this is, man. I see a lot of t-shirts that say The Dogfather. I don't know. Claudia Rojan says, still remember when you wanted to choke Haley Joel Osment? Yeah, I do. I remember that. I'll never forget one of my threats, okay? Joseph Knowles says, John, is the tire Nazi still alive? As far as I know, he is. I made a vlog video 10 years ago called The Tire Nazi, because there was this small auto shop in the middle of nowhere near my house, and there was a nickname for the guy who worked there who was just like the most obscene asshole of all time, and they called him the Tire Nazi. I made a vlog video about that. You can find it on YouTube. I think it was demonetized because of the title, but I didn't care. So yeah, as far as I know, he's still there. John, you're so right about the Joker. Thank you. Thank you for accrediting me. Yeah, I don't want to see that. All right? Like, that looks like it belongs on a fan film on YouTube or something. What do you think about Top Gun 1? I think Top Gun 1 is definitely a style over substance film where there's almost no story in Top Gun. It's essentially just dudes wanting to be the best at flying jets. And then there's a lot of baby oil, a lot of sweat, purposely done to put more sex appeal into the movie. That's what I think about Top Gun 1. I've never loved it, but I've always it's like pure 80s entertainment. I'm hoping the new one has a story, though. The pizza comparison is so accurate. Thank you for that. Yes, the first thing that came to mind, because I did, in fact, eat frozen pizza right before doing this live show. Dara Harmsey says, John, did you watch WrestleMania 38? How was it? I did watch it. I watched both nights. I remember we got some food, had a good time, watched it. I love me some like big event pay-per-view wrestling shows. I love it, man. And I would say I'm definitely a nerd. I was calling out little things before they happened and the entire subplot of the whole movie. There was somebody watching it with me, and like I was predicting everything that would happen hours before it would happen, and then I realized how much of a nerd I am for wrestling. So yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. I would say I'd say overall it was pretty damn good. The main event sort of sucked, but outside of that, I think it was a good show. MKF30 says, Who do you think is the smartest slashers in order between Michael, Jason, Chucky, Freddy, Ghostface, and Leatherface, and ever see Salem's Lot? I have seen Salem's Lot, but not for a very long time. Aren't they coming out with a sequel or a remake or something of that? Who do I think is the smartest? That's tough. I think Freddy is probably the overall most intelligent. I'm not going to put Ghostface in there because for me, Ghostface are just dudes wearing Halloween masks that somehow always get found out by the end of the movie. So I'd probably go with Freddy on that one as the most intelligent. Jason is probably the dumbest. Chucky's up there too. Want to play hide the soul? And Michael is pretty good at evading capture and being killed off sometimes. But I'm going to go with Freddy as the smartest. Joseph Knowles says, John, make a random scenario. Include a random time, day, and actor, and food. I don't know. I don't know. I was going to say Al Pacino at a gumball machine, talking to a little kid, getting gumballs out. And then he says something like, how about I give you a pack of bubblegum and show you how to chew it? I don't know. That's what time? It's 2:00 in the morning, okay? What do you want from me? I've given you everything. I've given you blood. I've given you sweat. I've given you tears. I've given you a decade of my life on YouTube. And that's what you want from me? That's the least I can do. Night King 01 says, Tarantino's take on Top Gun is so bizarre. What is his take on Top Gun? I'm sure he loves it. But I don't know what his exact take on Top Gun is. Claudia Rojan says, Jason in Friday the 13th remake is pretty smart, though. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I guess he is, because he has that whole tunnel underground system that he lives in, and it helps him get to places quicker, which did make sense logistically speaking. You know what I don't understand is why have they not made a new remake of Friday the 13th? Truly give it to somebody like Robert Eggers or a director like that, or give it to the guy who directed the movie X. I forget his name off the top of my head, but give it to someone like that. Give them that kind of IP, right? And give them the creative decisions to do things with the character and take a chance. Because I'm telling you, if they just did that, if you would just make a movie like X, but make it with an IP character like Jason Voorhees, the mass appeal would be there, but also the quality and craftsmanship of a real film that would feel like cinema. Why don't they do things like that? It's baffling to me. Anyway. You could make that movie for $8 million. You can make an $8 million horror film, Friday the 13th, and guess what? It's guaranteed to make money. You couldn't lose money if you did it. But studios, they don't do that. No, they make fucking movies like Morbius. Yeah, it costs $90 million. Let's just make Morbius. Jared Leto fucking dying the whole movie, drinking blood. That's what we're going to do. Morbius made me want to die, and it made me want to drink blood. All right, let's keep going. NNA says, have you seen the Indian movie RRR? If not, you should. Greetings from Switzerland. We met when you were here in Zurich. Did we? Well, I met some people. Where did I meet you specifically in Zurich? If you were the one guy who was 6'5", I remember you, if we took a picture together. But either way, I'm glad we got to meet in Zurich, man. It was a good time. I was just thinking about that the other day when I went there. Joseph Knowles says, can you do an impression of The Rock and Tarantino? No, I can't. No more impressions. I'm done. I'm done for the night. I can't really do an I can try to do a Tarantino impression, but no, we've already talked about that, okay? Okay, if you want to know that answer, go watch my other interview. Okay, we're here to push the movie. Okay, that's what this is. This is an advertisement for the movie. That's my Tarantino impression. Not very good. I'm working on it. The Rock, I can do a Rock impression, but I don't want to. Don't make me embarrass myself any further, okay? Tarantino thinks Top Gun is about Maverick accepting being gay. I would not disagree with that. The home, yes, that's a very erotic movie with men greased up playing volleyball. Yeah, I mean that I could see that being one way to look at it. Absolutely, I truly could. I think I've heard that somewhere else as well. But to say that there was homoerotic tendencies when they were playing volleyball, you're either naive or blind, okay? But for some odd reason, I wanted to be playing volleyball with them. Oh, let's continue on. Oh, also, if you want to talk about movies where the character's like secretly accepting being gay, you can look at films like Nightmare on Elm Street 2. The character of Jesse is more or less accepting that. If you look at it, I mean, it's almost on the nose if you rewatch it now, knowing that. John, is there a new lady friend in your life these days? Yes, there is somebody. The next one comes from NNA. He says, we chatted when Jake Gyllenhaal was about to come on the carpet. Yeah, were you the tall guy or were you somebody else? There's a really tall guy I talked to, and there was someone else. But I do remember talking to like a handful of people. But either way, it was nice to meet you, man. MKF30 says, which is better to you, the 80s, The Blob versus The Fly? Probably The Fly for me. I just think Jeff Goldblum really embodied that character and brought something new to it. Just more memorable to me. I don't really remember the Blob movie that well, to be honest with you. Double Chief says, John, what's one movie you've been putting off watching for years but still plan on watching it? Mine is Master and Commander. Got the Blu-ray in 2010 and still sealed. Man, let me just say this to you, okay? If you like really well-done movies that are epic, you like well-acted movies, you like movies that have craftsmanship, that have a true immersive vibe to them, stop holding off on watching Master and Commander. Please stop. Go watch that. Just watch it one night when you have some time and you can sit there and enjoy it, because I promise you, if you like movies like I just described, if you like movies like Gladiator, for example, you're going to like it, man. I promise you. Within 20 minutes, you're going to be like, okay, I want to, like, this is fun. This is what I want. This is like, I'm going back into the 1800s and I'm on a Navy ship. It's a good time. One movie I've been putting off, I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's some Alfred Hitchcock movies I need to watch. I'm trying to think of something else. Trying to think of a movie I've been putting off watching for a very long time. I'm sure it's some kind of classic movie. Maybe like the first Godfather movie. Like, I've seen Godfather 2. I can remember Godfather 2, but I can't remember the first Godfather movie whatsoever. So maybe that's one, but I remember watching it. But I remember nothing that happens in it, if that makes any sense, because I feel like Godfather 2 sort of just gives me the recap. So that's like why I think I even remember Godfather 1. So maybe the first Godfather movie is one I've been putting off for like a fucking 20 years, and I haven't got around to rewatching it again, but now I own the 4Ks that came out, so at one point I will watch them. Okay. We have like, how many questions do we have here? Okay, you guys are killing it with the questions. I'm going to answer every single question, don't worry. What I'm going to do real quick, guys, is because I want to I want to share something. I want to show you guys something I got or that was sent to me. And then I'll be right back. I'm going to take a quick break. So if you guys want to grab something cold to drink or, use the restroom, whatever you got to do, I'll be back in just 1 second. But what I would say is get all of your questions in that you want me to answer right now. You can either super chat or you can put them in the normal chat over here, and I'll try to get to as many questions as I possibly can when I come back in 60 seconds or less. So get those questions in. I'll come right back. Don't go anywhere. And as a wise man once said, what did he say? He said something. This is what he said. I'll be back. Someone said, I bet John's going pee-pee. I wear a diaper when I do these live streams. So no, I was not. I was actually going to grab this. I was going to show you guys this. I thought this would be more interesting than just posting a picture on Instagram. This was sent to me by Lionsgate. It's the Hunger Games collection on 4K Steelbook. Now, this is a nice... Now, we're going to talk about the movies in just 1 second. I like the way this looks. I like that they have all the steelbooks in there. I like that physical media still puts out nice looking sets. Like they clearly put some effort into this. It has good artwork. The steelbooks are in there. So for that, I will always be appreciative. Now, I was never a big fan of the Hunger Games movies. I think the concept sounds really cool. But I thought the first movie was always like, I just remember it being so shaky and odd and bizarre, and the action was terribly filmed. I thought they got better as the second movie went on. Like, I thought the second movie was far superior. And I don't really remember anything after that, to be honest with you, when it comes to the Hunger Games. But if you guys are fans of them, Best Buy has this really cool exclusive set right here. Look at that. So, yeah. Dude, when it comes to like Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, I do not remember those movies whatsoever. I forgot they existed. I think I reviewed at least one of these movies, maybe two of them. Did I review the Hunger Games movies? Isn't that weird? I can't even remember. I'm going to look. Maybe you guys know. Let's see. The Hunger Games movie review. So I reviewed the first movie. I reviewed Hunger Games Catching Fire. I reviewed that. And then I reviewed Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. Did I review Part 2 or did I say fuck it? I don't know. Let's see. Did I not so I reviewed Part 1 but not Part 2? Huh. I guess I didn't review Part 2. I guess I didn't like it very much. I don't remember what happens. That's how good it was. So yeah, there's that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that box set with you guys. It's a cool looking set. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch Part 1 and Part 2. I don't remember if they were even good or not. Catching Fire is by far the best one. Yeah, that's what I remember the most, is like liking the second movie the most. My dad loves Hunger Games movies. Yeah, I think a lot of people who read the novels might have more of a fandom or a love for them. For me, I just like... They were kind of like that young adult novels brought to live action, and they just felt like young adult novels to me. But that's just me. I'm a cynical asshole, so what do I know? Yeah, there were four of them. I forgot there were four of these movies. I forgot they did what every big movie does, or every big franchise does, is they split up the third one into two parts, where really it could have just been one part, but they have to drag out the first part to the point where it's so boring. Okay, let's dive back into the questions over here. Daryl Harmsy says, John, you about to save the world from an evil being. Which Batman will you choose to partner up with? George Clooney's Batman? Only if I need some big nipples to help me. Big hard man nipples and a bat credit card. I would probably, if I had to pick one Batman to help me, it'd probably be Ben Affleck's Batman, because he's not afraid to kill motherfuckers, okay? And second of all, Ben Affleck's Batman had he had the Batwing that had machine guns on it, all kinds of crazy shit. So I'd probably go with Ben Affleck's Batman. Yeah. He just had the most fantastical, overpowered shit when it comes to Batman. So probably him. That's who I'd go with. MKF30 says, which is better? We already answered that. EMAC says, EMAC2411 says, your thoughts on the Selena movie mini review? The Selena, the HBO movie made in 1990, what was that, 95 or 6? With starring Jennifer Lopez? Is that what we're talking about? The Selena movie? I like it. I actually always liked that. I remember watching it often as a kid on HBO, and it's I like biopics. And Selena was one musician I didn't know a lot about, and then you watch the movie and it has a tragic ending, but I always thought it was a really well done movie. I like when she's a kid and her family's putting on musical shows at restaurants and fairs. I always thought that was sort of intriguing. So yeah, I always liked the Selena movie. I thought Jennifer Lopez was made to play the role. So, Night King 01 says, I watched The Rock again. Those death scenes laugh out loud. Oh man, the death scenes in The Rock are phenomenal, man. Especially when that one guy gets the what was it, the air conditioner dropped on him and his foot's twitching. His foot just doesn't stop twitching. You know, one Michael Bay movie I sort of been in the mood to rewatch for a long time. Maybe I'll pop it in tonight. I felt like watching The Island. I truly feel like The Island is the last great Michael Bay movie made. And that was 2005. So I think I'm going to watch The Island maybe tonight. Why don't you do videos with Chris Duckman? Because he doesn't want to do videos, man. I don't know. He does his own thing. Let's see. Kinji says, thoughts on the channel CinemaSins? And who do you like better, Nostalgia Critic or Cinemassacre Angry Video Game Nerd? I probably am a bigger fan of Angry Video Game Nerd. I just think his videos are more intriguing to me. I think his skits and his humor are more of my type of humor. I think Nostalgia Critic's humor, I personally don't find it that funny. And I honestly, when it comes to Nostalgia Critic, I can say I've only watched one or two of his actual Nostalgia Critic videos. I think the character of the Nostalgia Critic, when Doug Walker's just reviewing a movie, I'd rather watch that. And I've met Doug Walker. I think I've met him once. Met him twice. I met him twice. He's a nice guy. He's sort of like he is in his videos. But yeah, I think Cinemassacre would be my preference if I had to pick one to watch. Because I was at one point when I was watching the Angry Video Game reviews on some older retro games, I was really addicted to it for a minute. Also, CinemaSins, I've never really watched CinemaSins. I've never really, I can't watch a 25-minute video where they just point out everything wrong with a movie and go ding, ding, ding. They'll go, it'll show the DC logo, ding. I just can't do that for 25 minutes. I can't look at that. Like, I feel like I'm getting no real value or substance. I personally don't know how it's lasted a decade, to be honest with you. I don't know. But good for them. Let's see. But I will tell you, I'll give you this backstory. Before CinemaSins existed, I had an idea, and this was in the early days of me starting 2010, 2011. I wanted to do something very similar to CinemaSins. It wasn't pointing out everything wrong with the movie. But the issue was, back then, YouTube were assholes when it came to copyrighted content on YouTube. There was no way to dispute it. And I still don't understand how they got away with it in the early days. But either way, that was like the Achilles heel of doing anything overly creative on YouTube back in 2010, 11, and 12. Is you just couldn't show any copyrighted footage and get away with it. Now there's a way to do it, but I remember those days on YouTube. Hated it. Okay, do you guys like CinemaSins? Let me know. Joseph Knoll says, do you like the Hangover movies and Tyson Tiger? I like the first Hangover movie, though I don't think it's that like as funny as everyone was saying it was. Tyson Tiger, I don't know what that is. But the second and third Hangover movies are just atrocious. The third one by far is one of the worst sequels ever made. MKF30 says, my dad loves Hunger Games. I'd confuse the Hunger Games with Maze Runner series. Like they have similar concepts. Also, will you do a Zoom chat again? I will do a members hangout only in the future for sure. I will announce it ahead of time, but we will do another one. Maze Runner and Hunger Games are sort of like the same thing to me. Young adult novels, post-apocalyptic reality where there's some kind of like game or something you have to play. Very similar, I agree. It's the 1-year anniversary of DMX dying. Well, that's sad. Double Chief says, when was the last time we went suit shopping with Jeremy Johns? That was like 2012, man. That was the one and only time I ever met him. I remember we went into what was the clothing store for men? Men's Warehouse. And then we went to Mark Ellis comedy show. And then did a few other things. And then did the Uber Viewers in Los Angeles. That was in 2012. That was like 10 years ago. Time flies. It's almost scary. Night King 01 says, Hunger Games is just discount Running Man. I don't disagree with that. Isn't it? I'm surprised that we haven't got a remake of The Running Man starring The Rock. Anyone else? I don't know. I could imagine The Rock wearing a yellow spandex suit. Ralph Reviews It says, what is your, and how's it going, Ralph? What is your fourth favorite movie? I need to know. Tell me, Johnny boy. Also, how long do you shower and how often you got to stay clean, my boy? Those are great questions. Let me start off with the first one. My fourth favorite movie of all time? And maybe Terminator 2 Judgment Day? Just throwing that out there. That could be my fourth favorite movie. It could be. It might be. Maybe. We'll go with that. I shower I shower probably 2 times a day. And I'll tell you why. Let me really explain it to you guys because I know that's why you come here. You come here to hear about my hygiene process and my routine. But that's what I'm here to tell you about because it's 2:17 in the morning. There's 327 of you watching right now, and I thank you for that so much. But let me tell you about how I shower. And first of all, I don't use alcohol because alcohol dries out your skin and makes you look older. Second of all, I wake up in the morning and I look like I just did drugs all night. For some reason, my hair's all matted to my head. I can't go anywhere without showering. I feel greasy and oily when I wake up, so I have to shower before I go anywhere. But I also, at night, have to shower before I go to bed. Because I have this weird thing where I feel like all of the day's goo stuck to me. Like I went out into society and all that goo and filth is now stuck to my skin. It's in my hair. So before I go lay down in my bed, my sacred bed, I can't bring all that filth into it. I gotta wash it away. I gotta cleanse the daily sins, and then I get into my bed. So I shower at night before I go to bed, and I shower like in the morning or the afternoon before I leave the house. So that's typically my routine. And I floss every day. You gotta floss every day. Rule number 1, floss every day. I'm telling you guys right now. Don't say I never tried to help you. All right? The next question. I hope you guys are still entertained. I really do. If you're not, I'm sorry. Michael says, my 13-year-old just watched American Psycho recently. He already has most of the movie memorized. Well, good for him. He doesn't know guys like you and me and secretly Patrick Bateman's. Yes, first of all, he needs to memorize that early. And when you watch someone watch American Psycho, and you can look into their eyes afterwards, you're going to know if your son's going to be a future sociopath. So pay close attention. But yeah, American Psycho, man, so good. You know how I know if I'm going to like someone or be friends with someone? If they can watch American Psycho and they find it humorous and funny. I also find that people, like, I relate to people who watch movies like Silence of the Lambs, and like they understand that it's a really good movie. It's very dramatic and awesome and thrilling and all those things. But if they don't find laugh out loud type humor with the shit that Buffalo Bill does or Hannibal Lecter says, if they don't find that highly hilarious, deep down I just know I'm never really going to be best friends with that person. I don't know. Take that how you will. The next one comes from EMAC2411. Thoughts on the real Selena from the movie? What? The thoughts on the real Selena from the movie? I don't know. I don't know any. Well, I just know she was a musician who was shot and she died in the early 90s. I don't know much more details than that, than the real Selena from the movie. But I liked the movie. Kinji says Battle Royale is a worthy mention before Hunger Games. Yes, I have seen the what is it? Is that South Korea? Is that a South Korean film, Battle Royale? I have seen it. And your Japanese Godzilla movie, my favorite Godzilla is Godzilla versus Mech Godzilla. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of Godzilla, to be honest with you. And the fact that we're getting more Godzilla versus Kong movies, I'm like, what are you going to do with this shit? We've already done it. Like, I just feel like those don't justify needing 2-hour movies. Those should be 12 minutes long. No one cares about anything outside of the fight scene. But yeah, I have seen Battle Royale. Daniel Sopsky says, how to make YouTube videos while working full time. I guess you just dedicate a day to it, man. I mean, how many videos do you want to make? You want to make one video a week? Okay. So you dedicate, 8 hours a week to making that one video. Just do that. It just depends. What kind of videos do you want to make? Some videos take more time. It really depends. For me, my favorite type of videos to make are sort of like the live shows or like vlog videos that I can just shoot very quickly. I always find those the most enjoyable videos to make. The ones where I have to edit them for 16 hours, it just almost ruins. It almost makes me not want to make the video because I know I have to edit it. Ralph Reviews It says, that was my first super chat in 5 years. Worth it. Well, Ralph, thank you for that so much, man. I hope you enjoyed the answers on how to bathe. Thank you for that, man. Double Chief says, who would win in a fight, John Campea or Alex Leyba? Probably John Campea. I mean, Alex Leyba, he's a nice kid and all, but I think John Campea has a little more anger within him. Same on the American Psycho thing. Thank you. I'm glad someone agrees with me. Yeah, you got to have certain ways you can figure out people, and if you're going to have compatible lifestyles or not. And if you don't find the character of Buffalo Bill highly hilarious and entertaining, then I just don't feel like we're going to be there. Chris says, oh, is the Batman review ready to post? It's on my desktop right now. It really is. I promise you. I could... well, can I screen share? It's there. It's on my desktop. Some of it's edited. Not all of it's edited. But someday, it'll pop up on YouTube. And I'm to the point where I'm not going to say when anymore. But it does exist. It truly does. I will say this. The unedited cut of my Batman review is 2 hours long. 2 fucking hours long. When I was done with it, I thought I was talking for 12 minutes. And then I looked at it and I was like, that was 2 hours long. How did that happen? And I still feel like I didn't say everything I wanted to. So I got to whittle that down. Are you a Bond fan? I like some of the James Bond movies. I'm not a hardcore Bond fan. I like a handful of the movies. Don't ask me details about the movies from the 70s. A lot of them, I like the Roger Moore movies. I don't really remember, like the Timothy Dalton movie, like License to Kill was great from the 80s. But outside of like the Craig movies or the Pierce Brosnan movies, I'm not very knowledgeable on James Bond. Mr. 47 has become a member of Listen to My Podcast perk. Yay! Yeah, man. Stay tuned. Right after this, I'll post a new episode of the podcast. So look out for that. It'll be on the community tab of this channel. So just check there. Will you get No Way Home on 4K from Spidey Flick? Yeah, so they're supposed to send me a early 4K copy of it. They said they were sending it. So I will get that. I did watch it on streaming because it was released on streaming before the physical copy. But I do want to get the 4K steelbook of it when it comes out on the, what is that, Tuesday? Holy shit, yeah, so this Tuesday. I do want to get the 4K steelbook at Best Buy. Hopefully they have one in stock when the store opens up that morning because you can't buy that shit online right now. So yeah, I'm definitely going to get Spider-Man on 4K for sure. Double Chief says, never done Super Chats before. These are cracking me up. Well, I'm glad you enjoy them, man, and thanks for... Keep them coming. I do appreciate it, guys. It is very helpful. I do appreciate it. Thank you, guys. You don't have to. You don't. You just watch. That's all I really ever ask. Just watch. That's all I need. Just watch. A Nightcrawler or Taxi Driver? For me, my personal favorite, and I think it has more rewatchability, is Nightcrawler. The superior film, obviously, is probably Taxi Driver, but man, they both coincide with each other. In a weird way, I feel like Nightcrawler is almost like sort of like the modern day equivalent to Taxi Driver. Like, I love Taxi Driver, and if you went into, like, if I could make my version of Taxi Driver, I feel like it'd be similar to Nightcrawler. I really do. Like, that's why I love Nightcrawler so much. It's almost like someone went into my brain and made the movie I wanted to see or make. Claudio Rogajon says, Hangover is funny at first, and then you watch it again, and it loses its effect when you realize it's not really funny except for a couple parts. Yeah, the first I never thought the first Hangover was like that hilarious. Like the only funny thing in that is Zach Galifianakis for the most part. Everything else is just kind of there. Thoughts on WandaVision? I liked the Halloween episode. Other than that, I didn't care. I thought it was one of the worst starts to a series you could ever make. Like, I just thought, like, are they purposely trying to make people not interested in this show? But I did like the Halloween. I liked the 1990s Halloween episode. Like, I thought that was great. It was like Malcolm in the Middle. Or was that the episode before that? Either one. I liked it. Michael says, my 13-year-old asked me if he can watch Wolf of Wall Street and Clockwork Orange. I'm messing up my son by being a movie guy? No. You need to expose this kid to these types of movies because A, it will define him as a person. It will make him much more well-rounded. And hopefully, if you expose him to movies like this that aren't padded PG movies, it's going to make him a better person. Honestly, I feel like the reason I am like I am and I can take a joke and not everything in life offends me is because I grew up in like rated R raunchy movies, like, and that was like the personality traits I took, so I expose your son to as much of that shit as you possibly can. He's 13, he can handle it. Charles Taft says, have you ever seen the comedy/horror Club Dread? Good flick by the guys who made Super Troopers. I think I watched a few minutes of it, and it did not look on the same quality as Super Troopers, so I stopped watching it. And then I remember years ago, they came out with Super Troopers, the sequel, and it just looked really bad, and I watched 7 minutes of it, and I was like, I don't want to watch this. Tarbosh Penwick says, what is your favorite film of 2022 so far, and why is it Morbius? Well, it's not Morbius. I would say The Batman because it's fucking awesome. That's what I would say. I'm going to go with The Batman. Now, I'm curious, by the end of 2022, will The Batman still be my favorite movie? Because there's some good stuff coming out, but I have a feeling that it just might be. I haven't seen Ambulance yet. I'll see it tomorrow. Hasty Blake, did my super chat show up? Hasty Blake, yes it did. Right here, let me read it. Did you have any action figures that you collect or display? I made an amazing Red Hood figure and thought you might like to see a pic of it. Flick, yeah, tweet me a pic of it, man. As a kid, I bought action figures. Do I collect any action figures currently? No. No, I don't. I'm not a big fan of like collecting figures per se. I used to have a whole bunch of wrestling figures I used to collect probably when I was like 11, 12. I had quite a bit. But usually when it comes to like collecting things, I like the T-800 endoskeleton back there. I like the DeLorean. I don't necessarily just like figures. I just think like things like the DeLorean looks better on a shelf for me. So things like that is usually what I would lean towards collecting. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap up the live show here. I've got one here from Claudio Rogajan who says, you ever realize that the Marines and The Rock become instantly morons when they have to go up against Sean Connery, even though they show them as tactical geniuses in the movie? Well, let's call it a Michael Bay movie. The henchmen have to get beat by the 70-year-old guy who's retired and just came out of prison after 30 years. Of course. Yeah. But also when it comes to The Rock and those mercenary Marines, do you like how like they're going on this impossible mission of terrorism to like shoot nuclear missiles at the Bay of San Francisco, and their only compensation at the end of this, if it works out, which is like a far-fetched plan at best, is they are going to be compensated $1 million and they have to go to a non-extraditional country to live out the rest of their life. I'm sorry to say, that doesn't sound like that good of a deal. Like, you have to risk your life or being imprisoned for the rest of your life, known as a terrorist. For $1 million, and you have to go to another foreign country? I don't know. That doesn't sound like... Like, if you were one of those Marines in that situation that were going to be a mercenary, wouldn't you rather just team up with, like, 5 of the other Marines and maybe, like, rob banks instead? Like, there's probably a way, like... Statistically speaking, there's probably a better chance you'll get away with that than taking over an abandoned prison and shooting warhead missiles at people. I don't know. The whole premise is crazy when you think about it. But either way, that's The Rock. All right. Very generous of you, Michael. Holy shit, man. Well, thank you for this very generous super chat, but here it goes. Updates in my 13-year-old's post watching American Psycho. Now he gets facial masks that you peel off. He started getting manicures. He's also dating several girls, and he tries to do 1,000 crunches now. Well, as long as he's not bringing home prostitutes, one which he calls Sabrina, and tells her she's drinking a very fine Chardonnay, don't just look at it, eat it. Secondly, the facial mask peeling off, I actually do that every once in a while. Whenever I have my lady friend over, we do the facial thing. I was going to say we do facials. But the facial mask, when I peel it off, every time I look at myself in the mirror, like Patrick Bateman. But there is no real me. Only an entity and something of illusory. But yeah, well, good luck with him and all of his future years of therapy. Unfortunately, the excuse of returning videotapes no longer works, though, in society, which is really unfortunate. Okay, I'm gonna answer one more question here. We got one from Film Moon. Do we still have hope for a Terminator franchise? He always says, I'll be back, but he's never come back since T2, in my opinion. I agree. The fact that every installment of Terminator Salvation had a few good ideas, but overall it was bad. Terminator Genesis was garbage. Terminator Dark Fate made me want to just bash my head in with a cinder block. I don't know. But I think Arnold only has one left in him. Like, if they're going to do it, it needs to happen now. And I was hoping like a really competent, gritty, awesome Terminator movie would come out that would utilize Arnold and not retcon things that the franchise has done, like Dark Fate. But I don't know. I have no faith. It'll probably be another glossy shit movie. I don't know. Really, I just wish James Cameron would come back. Like, okay, I'm done making shitty Avatar movies. Let's make a Terminator movie. And, like, let's show people how to do it. But I'd say the odds are against that. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live show here. I was only planning on doing this for an hour. We went for 2.5 hours, I think. Very long time. But nevertheless, I like the late night shows. They're kind of fun. Like, I'm a little bit drowsy, but I think that makes for a better live show. But either way, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the questions. And just thanks for being around, guys. And we're almost 100,000 on this channel, which is awesome. Hopefully we get there soon. And we have one last this is the last question. This is the last. Don't ask another question. This is the last one. I need to go watch The Island, directed by Michael Bay. Playboy Legion says, John, what are your thoughts on Jordan Peele's Nope? The trailer intrigues me. I want to see it. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping it's better than Us. That's my hope. Those are my thoughts. As always, guys, look out for a brand new episode of the podcast. If you guys are Patreon supporters or YouTube members, look out for that. As always, guys, thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Stay safe. Go to sleep or stay up for the next 10 minutes and then check out the podcast when I upload it very shortly. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay safe.